Under the relentless fluorescent lights of a supermarket aisle, something extraordinary was about to happen. Something that would forever change the life of a little girl and a man the world had already judged as a monster. The sound of shopping cart wheels echoed through the store, mixing with the silent hum of refrigerators and the discreet murmur of customers. A rough, tattooed biker, his leather vest adorned with the words Hell's Angels, walked slowly down the aisle, grabbing a box of cereal. His name was Logan Pierce, a man who had spent most of his life running from his past, bad decisions, broken promises, and a heart that had closed itself off to the world. But on this ordinary afternoon, fate had a different plan for him. If you believe in goodness, in second chances, and that a single act of courage can save a life, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Because this story will remind you that heroes sometimes wear leather jackets, not capes. Logan wasn't looking for trouble that day. He was just there to buy some food before heading out for a long ride. But as he turned the corner into the cereal aisle, something froze him in place. A little girl, no more than 6 years old, was walking next to a tall man with a snake tattoo wrapped around his arm. Her small hand clung to his, but her eyes were filled with fear. The moment she saw Logan, she didn't blink. She slowly raised her hand, palm open, fingers spread, a signal, a distress signal. Logan had seen that hand sign once before, while scrolling late at night through social media, a sign meant to silently ask for help when someone was in danger. For a second, he thought maybe he was wrong. Maybe she was just waving. But then he saw her trembling lip, the bruises lightly shadowing her wrist, and the way the man's grip tightened as he noticed Logan staring at him. The biker's pulse quickened. He didn't know this child, didn't know her story, but something deep inside him, something that had long been buried, ignited. Without hesitation, he put down his box of cereal and started walking toward them. The man with the snake tattoo glared at him, his eyes sharp, his posture stiffening as if preparing for confrontation. The little girl's eyes silently screamed, "Please don't leave." Logan's heavy boots echoed on the floor as he approached. He gave a slight smile, pretending to be casual. "Hey there, little one," he said softly, his voice low but warm. The man immediately pulled the girl closer, muttering that they were in a hurry. But Logan's instincts were screaming, "Liar!" He noticed the girl suddenly shaking her head no, still holding her hand at mid-height like a beacon calling through the fog. He decided to play along. "You dropped something," Logan said to the man, pointing behind them. The man instinctively turned for half a second. And that's when Logan knelt down to the girl's level, whispering softly, "You're safe now." Then he stood up again, eyes locked on the man, and in one fluid motion, he grabbed his phone and took a picture. The man growled, "What are you doing, old man?" Logan's tone changed, calm, cold, authoritative. "Let's not make a scene, buddy. The cops are on their way." He wasn't bluffing. He had already pressed the emergency SOS button on his phone. Within seconds, the man panicked, released the girl's hand, and rushed down the aisle. Logan immediately wrapped the trembling little one in his leather jacket and guided her toward the front of the store. Customers turned around, confused, as the loud buzz of sirens began to wail outside. The girl, whose name was Mia, clung tightly to him, her small hands gripping the edges of his jacket as if holding onto the only safe thing in the world. When the police arrived, everything happened quickly. The man was caught before he could escape from the parking lot. Turned out he wasn't her father at all. He had kidnapped her 2 days earlier from a nearby park, and no one had seen her since. As the officers took his statement, Mia kept looking at Logan. She didn't cry. She didn't speak much. She just held his hand as if she knew he had shown up for a reason. Logan, a man who had been called every name under the sun, criminal, thug, outcast, felt something break inside him, something he didn't know was still alive. When her real mother arrived, collapsing in tears as she hugged her daughter, Logan turned away, wiping his face with the back of his hand. Before leaving, Mia ran to him. She reached into the pocket of his jacket and placed a small toy charm in it. "A little angel. You're my biker angel," she whispered. Logan didn't know how to respond. He simply nodded, smiled weakly, and walked out into the sunlight, his boots echoing softly on the pavement. A few days later, local news reported the story of the Hell's Angel who had saved a little girl using a silent distress signal. Overnight, Logan became something he never thought he could be, a hero. But for him, it wasn't about fame. It was about redemption. For the first time in years, he felt peace, as if perhaps the road he had traveled all along had finally led him to something good. Months later, Logan often stopped by that same store, sometimes hoping to see Mia and her mother again, sometimes not. But every time he passed by that place, he touched the little angel charm hanging from his motorcycle keychain, murmuring a silent promise to never ignore another raised hand asking for help. And somewhere deep inside him, he knew that day hadn't just saved Mia's life, it had also saved his own. If this story touched your heart, if you believe that even the roughest souls can carry the kindest hearts, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's spread this message of awareness because one small signal, one courageous act can change everything. Before you leave, tell us in the comments what would you do if you saw this little girl raise her hand.